I've always prided myself on keeping family ties tight, even the ones knotted by marriage rather than blood. My wife, Laura, and I have been together 12 years now, and her son from her first marriage, let's call him Jake, has been part of the package since he was a gangly teenager. He's 25 now, living in a modest flat across town, working some tech job that pays well enough for craft beer and vintage vinyl. Christmas was coming, the air already sharp with frost, and Laura insisted we host the usual blowout, turkey, mulled wine, her terrible charades. Jake hadn't RSVP'd to the group chat, so I volunteered to swing by his place after work. Tell him it's non-negotiable, Laura said, kissing my cheek. Family shows up. The drive took me through streets glazed with early holiday lights, red and green bleeding into wet pavement. Jake's building was one of those converted warehouses, exposed brick, buzzer system, the kind of place that smells faintly of weed and ambition. I pressed his flat number. No answer. I tried again. Then the door clicked open, and there she was, Elena, Jake's girlfriend of 2 years. I'd met her maybe 4 times, at barbecues, a birthday dinner, once when she and Jake crashed our New Year's Eve. Striking woman, dark hair that fell in loose waves, olive skin, a mouth that looked like it knew secrets. She wore an oversized sweater slipping off one shoulder and leggings that left little to the imagination. "Oh," she said, startled but not displeased. "You're Jake's stepdad, right?" I nodded. "Guilty. Mind if I come in? Just need 5 minutes." She stepped aside. "Jake's at the gym, won't be back for an hour. But sure, come in. Coffee." The flat was warm, cluttered with plants and half-finished canvases, Elena painted, I remembered. Abstract stuff, bold strokes. She poured me a mug from a French press, black, no sugar, the way I like it. We sat at the kitchen island. I launched into the Christmas pitch, the menu, the playlist, how Laura's sister was bringing her new baby. Elena listened, head tilted, a small smile playing at her lips. She smelled like vanilla and something earthier, patchouli, maybe. Her eyes, hazel with flecks of gold, kept catching mine and holding a beat too long. "You know," she said, tracing the rim of her mug, "Jake's been weird about family stuff lately. Says he feels like an outsider at your place." I frowned. "That's news to me." Laura bends over backwards for him. Elena shrugged, the sweater slipping further. A thin bra strap peeked out, black lace. "He's just navigating. You get it." I did get it. Step parenting is a minefield. I'd tried to be the cool dad, concert tickets, no curfews, but there's always a wall. Still, I wasn't here to unpack Jake's psyche. I stood to leave, tell him the invite stands. Doors open. As I moved toward the door, Elena followed, close enough that her arm brushed mine. "Hey," she said softly. "Thanks for checking in. Means something." Her hand landed on my forearm, light but deliberate. Heat flared under my skin. I should have pulled away. Instead, I looked down at her fingers, nails painted deep plum, and felt the room tilt. "Elena." She stepped closer. "Call me Lena, everyone does." Her voice dropped, husky. "You're not like the other dads, you know. You actually see people." I laughed, awkward. "I'm just a guy with a honey-baked ham agenda." But she wasn't laughing. Her thumb stroked the inside of my wrist, a slow circle. My pulse hammered. This was insane. She was my stepson's girlfriend. 20 years younger. And yet, Christ, the way she looked at me, like I was the only man in the world. I'd been married long enough to recognize hunger when it stared me in the face. "We shouldn't," I said, but my feet didn't move. "Who says?" she whispered. The buzzer rang, some delivery guy. We sprang apart like teenagers. Elena smoothed her sweater, cheeks flushed. I adjusted my coat, heart racing. "I'll tell Jake you stopped by," she said, voice steady now. "Drive safe." I nodded, throat dry, and left. The cold air hit me like a slap. What the hell had just happened? I drove home on autopilot, radio off, replaying the feel of her thumb on my skin. Laura was in the kitchen when I walked in, humming along to Bing Crosby. "How'd it go?" she asked. "Fine," I lied. "He'll think about it." That night, I lay awake beside my wife, staring at the ceiling. Elena's scent clung to my memory. I told myself it was nothing. A moment, over. But my phone buzzed on the nightstand, a text from an unknown number. "Thanks for the coffee. Next time, stay longer. L." I deleted it immediately, then undeleted it, then deleted it again. Sleep didn't come easy. 3 days later, I found myself inventing reasons to drive past Jake's neighborhood. Laura was at her book club. The house felt too quiet. I told myself I was just checking if Jake had made up his mind about Christmas. A lie, but a convenient one. I parked a block away, engine idling, debating whether to buzz up. My phone buzzed first. Jake's out till late. Doors open if you want that coffee rematch. I stared at the screen. Same unknown number. My thumb hovered. Delete. Block. Instead, I typed, on my way. The hallway smelled of garlic and rosemary, Elena cooking. She opened the door in a silk robe the color of Merlot, hair damp from a shower. Hope you like pasta, she said, no preamble. I made too much. I stepped inside, shedding my coat. The flat was dim, lit by candles on the counter. Jazz played low, Miles Davis, Kind of Blue. She poured wine, deep red, into stemless glasses. To unexpected visitors, she toasted. We ate at the island, elbows brushing. She talked about her art show coming up, how Jake didn't get her work. He wants clean lines, symmetry. I paint chaos. Her foot nudged mine under the stool. Accident. No, she left it there, bare toes against my ankle. After dinner, she showed me her studio, a corner of the living room walled off with bookshelves. Canvases leaned everywhere, splashes of crimson and indigo. One piece caught my eye, a woman's silhouette dissolving into flame. That's me, she said quietly. Or who I used to be. I turned to her. And now, she stepped close, robe parting slightly to reveal the curve of her breast. Now I want to feel something real. Her mouth found mine before I could think. Soft at first, then urgent. I tasted wine and garlic in her. My hands went to her waist, pulling her against me. The robe slipped to the floor. Underneath, nothing but skin and shadow. She was exquisite, full breasts, narrow waist, the flare of hips. I kissed down her neck, tasting salt. She moaned, fingers threading my hair. We stumbled to the couch. I laid her back, kissing every inch, collarbone, nipples hardening under my tongue, the soft plane of her stomach. She arched when I reached the heat between her thighs, already slick. I took my time, learning her with mouth and fingers until she came with a shuddering gasp, nails digging into my shoulders. Then she pushed me back, straddling me. Her hands worked my belt, zipper. I was hard, aching. She sank down slowly, eyes locked on mine. The heat of her, the grip, Jesus. We moved together, slow then frantic. The couch creaked. Her breasts bounced with each thrust. I gripped her ass, guiding her. She leaned down, biting my lip, whispering filthy things in Spanish. I flipped her beneath me, driving deep. She wrapped her legs around my waist, heels digging into my back. When she came again, clenching around me, I followed, spilling inside her with a groan that felt ripped from my chest. After, we lay tangled, sweat cooling. Guilt crept in like fog. Jake, I started. She pressed a finger to my lips. Jake doesn't own me, and he'll never know. Her eyes were steady. This is ours. I left before midnight, kissing her once more at the door. Driving home, I felt alive in a way I hadn't in years. Laura was asleep when I slipped into bed. I stared at the ceiling again, Elena's taste still on my tongue. What was I doing? The next morning, Jake texted the family chat, count me in for Xmas. Looking forward to it, I smiled despite myself. Elena had delivered. The affair became a fever. Texts at odd hours, miss your mouth, photos that made my cock twitch at work. We met when Jake traveled for a conference, then again when he worked late. Always at their flat, the risk sharpening every touch. Elena was insatiable, inventive. She'd greet me in lingerie or nothing at all, push me against the door, drop to her knees. I'd bend her over the kitchen counter, watching her reflection in the window as I took her from behind. Once, in the shower, water cascading over us, she braced against the tile while I fucked her slow and deep, her cries echoing off ceramic. We talked, too. Between rounds, wrapped in sheets, she'd trace patterns on my chest and confess things. How Jake was safe but predictable, how she craved danger. I told her about the early years with Laura, passion that cooled into routine. You make me feel young, I admitted. She laughed, biting my shoulder. You are young where it counts. One night, Jake came home early. We were in his bed, Elena's idea, the thrill of it. I had her on all fours, gripping her hips, when keys rattled in the lock. Panic seized me. Elena just grinned over her shoulder, whispering, closet. I dove in, naked, heart hammering. Jake's voice, babe, you awake? She met him in the hall, robe on, hair tousled. Bad dream, she lied smoothly. Go back to sleep. He bought it. I waited 20 agonizing minutes, then slipped out the window onto the fire escape, clothes bundled under my arm. The close call should have ended it. Instead, it fueled us. We got reckless, quickies in my car behind the gym where Jake trained, her riding me in the backseat, windows fogged. Once, at a family dinner Laura hosted, Elena wore a sundress with no panties. Under the table, her foot teased my crotch while she chatted with my wife about cranberry sauce. I nearly came in my pants. Christmas loomed. Jake was excited, planning to help Laura decorate. Elena texted, "Wear the red tie. I'll be thinking of it around my wrists." I did. At the party, she looked innocent in a green velvet dress, but her eyes promised filth. When Jake stepped outside to take a call, she cornered me in the pantry. "Quick," she breathed, hiking her dress. I took her against the shelves, hand over her mouth to muffle her moans. Canned goods rattled. We finished just as footsteps approached. Later, watching Jake carve the turkey, I felt a stab of something, guilt, maybe love for the kid I'd raised. Elena caught my eye across the table, licked gravy from her thumb slow and deliberate. My cock stirred under the linen cloth. That night, Laura and I made love for the first time in months. Mechanical, affectionate, I closed my eyes and saw Elena's face. January thawed into sleet. The affair stretched like taffy, sweet, sticky, impossible to cut clean. Elena wanted more. Weekends away, a future. Leave them, she'd whisper post-orgasm, tracing my wedding ring. We could be incredible. I'd laugh it off, but the idea lodged like a splinter. Laura noticed my distance, asked if work was stressing me. I doubled down on gifts, date nights. Guilt sex with my wife, passion sex with Elena. I was splitting in two. Jake proposed in February, a romantic dinner he bragged about. Elena said yes, showed me the ring over wine at their flat. "It's cubic zirconia," she sneered. "He's cheap." Then she fucked me on the coffee table, ring glinting as she clutched my hair. The end came in March. I arrived to find Jake home, hungover. Elena kissed his cheek, told him she was running errands. We met in a motel off the highway, peeling wallpaper, neon sign buzzing. She was wild that day, scratching my back raw, begging me to mark her. After, she cried, "I can't keep lying to him. But I can't lose you." I held her, conflicted. We knew this couldn't last. Did we? She challenged. Or are you just scared? I was terrified of losing Laura, Jake, the life I'd built. But also of losing this wildfire that made me feel alive. We agreed to cool it. Deleted threads, blocked numbers. For 2 weeks, I was a ghost in my own skin. Then Elena called from a burner, one last time. "Please." I went. The flat was empty, Jake at a bachelor party in Vegas. She wore my favorite black lace, had candles everywhere. We made love slow, almost tender. She came with my name on her lips, not his. Afterward, she said, "I'm pregnant." The room spun. "Jake's." She shook her head. "Yours." I stopped the pill months ago. Wanted something that was us. Rage and terror collided. "You trapped me." "No," she insisted, tears falling. "I loved you." Past tense. I left without another word. Blocked every number. Told Laura I needed a solo trip to clear my head. Drove north until the roads blurred. Spring unfurled, cherry blossoms against gray skies. Elena had the baby in November, a girl. Jake posted photos. Proud dad, chubby cheeks, my eyes staring back from a stranger's feed. Elena named her Sophia. She never reached out. I never asked. Laura and I soldiered on. Therapy, date nights, a cruise. The sex improved, grateful, connected. But sometimes, in the dark, I'd smell vanilla and patchouli and ache. Jake married Elena in a backyard ceremony. I stood up as groomsman, clapped when they kissed. Sophia, toddling now, grabbed my finger with sticky hands. I felt the weight of almost. Years passed. I wrote this down finally, anonymous pages in a locked file. Not for absolution, there's none. Just to remember the man I was when desire outtranscends. Elena's out there, raising my daughter as another man's. Jake's happy, oblivious. Laura suspects nothing. And me, I carry the secret like a second heartbeat. Some nights, I dream of hazel eyes and a mouth that tasted like sin. I wake hard, ashamed, alive. The Christmas party still happens every year. Jake brings Sophia now, teaches her to hang ornaments. Elena smiles politely, asks about my golf game. We don't speak of Panama red ties or motel neon. But once, passing in the hallway, her hand brushed mine. A spark, a warning. I pulled away. This time, for good. Before we begin, a quick but important disclaimer. The following story is a fictional narrative written for mature audiences as part of a creative writing series. It contains themes of infidelity, emotional complexity, and adult situations. No real individuals are portrayed or referenced. The narrator, characters, and events are entirely invented. This is not a true story, nor is it based on any real person, living or deceased. We do not condone, promote, or glorify cheating, deception, or the betrayal of trust in relationships. Infidelity causes real pain and lasting damage. If you're struggling with relationship issues, please consider speaking with a trusted friend, counselor, or professional. This content is intended for entertainment and storytelling purposes only, exploring human flaws, desire, and consequence through fiction. Viewer discretion is advised. And that's the end of tonight's confession. 5 chapters. 1 secret. 0 excuses. He never got caught, but was the thrill worth the lie? Tell me in the comments, would you confess? Or take it to the grave? If this story had you holding your breath, smash that like button. It tells YouTube to push this to more late night scrollers like you. Subscribe and turn on the bell. Thanks for watching responsibly. Stay safe, stay honest, or at least, stay anonymous. I'll see you in the next confession.